There's my red light. Red light means we are on. Well, look at that. We're back. Hey, how are you doing? Man, I hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Uh, Hope you enjoyed your Labor Day. That's what we're in the middle of. Had an incredible lunch and getting ready to finish this up and then get the grill fired up. I mean, I hope you had a great weekend way back then, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. Hope you're doing well. Your family's doing well. Everybody's doing well with everything. But hey, thank you for connecting with this and me in this way, and kind of all of us, I guess. But hey, but welcome. Glad you're here. Glad we're able to do this. And man, we got some fun stuff to talk about. I know I said it every time, and because it is. To me, it is, and I hope you enjoy it. But this stuff is pretty cool because it's such a personal reflection on the way your cells and body operates. I mean, we're talking genetics and heredity. Man, you can't get any more personable than this, and the fact that you could understand how the various traits that you have and everything about you that the person can see, height, eye color, hair color, which is why we got Penny down here. She's going to help us talk about multiple genes working on the same area, same thing there. But anytime you can bring Big Bang Theory into the discussion, it's going to be a good day. But again, welcome. Hey, Nevada High School students, bio, dual credit perhaps, A&P, welcome. Thank you for being a part of this. Crowder people, can't forget the Crowder people. My nighttime gig, love that nighttime gig. I get excited on those nights. I mean, most people say, man, how do you go from whenever you get up to early in the morning to school, and you take a little break and you go to Crowder and do it. Man, I love doing that. I love doing both places. I mean, I know I'm tired sometimes. Oh, you don't want to hear all this, but anyway, you get to anyway. I know I'm tired sometimes when I get home. It's 10 o'clock, 10:30, whatever, but man, I enjoy doing all that, man. Love talking me some science, and this topic is right up there with the best of them. So hey, I don't think I said both Crowder people, the not dual credit, the bio people, and the A&P people, who, I don't know if I can say this or not, and I don't want the bio people to get upset, but my current A&P students, man, you guys might be some of the more energetic, exciting people. The nursing program produces some great people over there at Crowder, and it's a great program. And most of the nurses, I mean, they're in the field, they're working hard, and they enjoy what they're doing. But this group I got right now, pretty high energy, very engaged. I mean, they love what they're doing. They're doing part of what they want, and it's just a great class. And so, hey, enough about that. Let's get going here. Genetics. Now, there's only, let me make sure I got this right. Yeah, only the 3 pictures. So you're saying, ooh, short lecture. Not so fast, my friend. We have got 1,000 vocab words to go through, so it's just going to be a lot of typing. I'm going to type on the left and examples on the right over here, and that will be a great teacher strategy because I'm such a great teacher. When I use both sides of my diagrams, ooh, look at me go. Both sides. I'm a 2-side diagram writer this time. So we'll type it over here, and we'll example it over here. And we'll draw a Punnett square too, and then when we get in class, we'll draw thousands of them. Because I love me some Punnett squares, but I already said that. All right, so let's get and of course we'll type it just so it's legible for you, and it goes possibly a little bit quicker because there are going to be some full sentences, and I already know I got to be way over here because I'm going to be going pretty long out here, and I certainly don't want to cover my picture up here. That'll upset you guys. I don't want to do that. So here we go. Let's start off with just the top level definition. And heredity, I mean, that's simply the passing of genetic. I think I hit the space button there. Oh, I butchered that. Where did I go? Oh, TION. Information from parent to offspring. That's heredity right there. Hey, you're just passing the traits. When a couple decides it's time to have a little one, whether they're a giraffe, whether they're a human, whether they're bullfrogs. I don't know if bullfrogs actually decide. You know what we need? We need to make 10,000 babies. I doubt they do that, but it's the idea, passing it from the parent to the offspring. And since there's no Hallmark bullfrog movies, I'm assuming they don't have that romance side like humans do. All right, karyotype. Nope, not that. That's simply a chart showing the chromosomes. And hopefully somebody is saying, yeah, it's great. He's got one right over there. That's exactly right. Let me click on that. Okay, because this right here, let's see, we did that's the rainbow we did from this morning. So what we want to do for heredity, let's see what my options are. Let's get in here and see. What do I got to choose from? It's still a holiday. Do we want to go super cool, or we want to get back to some basics? Well, how about a nice, you know what? How about a nice little purple or magenta or whatever. Oh, it does say purple. There you go. I had it right. And we got the right thickness on there. So that's this bad boy right over here. That's a karyotype. And we'll kind of break it down a little bit. You can see that we're going to do a couple of terms here. We're going to talk about them. Let me make sure I got, where's that homologous chromosome? Is that in here? No, I didn't. It didn't in my list. So we'll do it over here then. You can see this is the karyotype of the 23. You can't see that number very well, but it's a 23. Michael Jordan's, LeBron James, whatever you want to call it there. This is the karyotype, and you can see that the chromosomes, this would be, obviously one would be from the dad, one would be from the mom. That's where you get your pairs. And in this last one down here, okay, that would be the sex cells, or the sex cells, and then the rest of these would be body cells, things that would make up the traits of the individual body parts, whatever they would deal with or contain. Oh, I'm sorry, I circled the wrong one. It's right here. Yeah, ignore that. Let me get that off of there. Part one of you might have saw that. Yeah, I just went to the last one, and assumed that I guess I should have. Now that I get real closer, it is a 22. Now there's the sex cell right there, the X and the Y. So this particular person, what gender are they? Stalling. That's right, it's a boy or a man, whatever it may be. Because you got that X and the Y. If it had two X's, as you know, female, X and a Y. Male. And let's see, let's do a trick question. What would it be if it was a YY? And you can't have a YY. So that was a trick question, because the mom's not going to pass a Y. She's either going to pass an X, or, I don't know, she's going to pass an X. So there you go, X and a Y. So, but couple things to notice. Okay, they typically are, this is kind of bent over. If it was standing up, it'd be kind of the same length. Okay, it's the same length. So these things are called I can't believe I don't have this on my list. Let me double check that. No, I don't see it on there anywhere. I need to make a good list. Oh, that's supposed to be an O. Homologous chromosome, meaning the same. Okay, this prefix here refers to the same. So they're typically the same length, but what they definitely do, they are chromosomes that deal with the same information. So whether it's the height, or whether it's the leg, body thickness, whatever it may be, one of the miracles that happens at fertilization, and again, sorry you had to hear that word in public like this, but fertilization, one of the miracle things that happens when that's the sperm and the egg meet, and you get that bonding of all the chromosomes, the 23 from the dad, the 23, and I'm doing my hands, you can't see that, so I get them up here. 23 from the dad, 23 from the mom. One of the miracle things that happens is that the chromosomes that deal with the same information connect. Get pair up with each other. They're just not randomly placed around. And then when you get going through cell division, and we're going through meiosis, then you can get that where they can share information and trade and all kinds of things like that to create diversity and variation. Same in reference to size, but more importantly, same genetic information. All right, so let's close that down and come back over here. And yes, we definitely want to edit that, and we are ready to keep moving. As we know, there's 23 pairs. And we talked about that. And so there's the 22 body cells. Let's see, I need to put that 22 somatic. And that's the little AKA body cells. And of course, then one sex cell. And then some variation of, well, let's just put all three choices. We can do that. So we can have a XX. You can have, I did say three choices, didn't I? No, you only get two choices. Hopefully you were snicking at that, or somebody caught that. Yeah, you only get two choices. I guess I could put the Y first. That would be your third option, but that's not really an option. All right, so that's your 23 pairs. Now, an important word, diploid. So, because when we start talking about Punnett squares, and we start talking about mitosis, meiosis, all that stuff, diploid, cells that have a full set of chromosomes. And for humans, that number would be 46. Okay, for every other organism, the number's going to be different. Getting thirsty. Oh, hey, look at this. Since it is a holiday down here, I know we had water this morning, which is what we always should have, but it's afternoon now on a holiday, so we're celebrating. Got a little Dr. Pepper going here. So yeah, that's a... Alright, and so the opposite of that would be haploid. So now we're talking same definition, but now they just got 23, or half. Okay, and what cells would this be? Okay, stalling, that's right. Hopefully your hands weren't up all over the building and all over the room, and people were yelling at their screens. That's right, the sex cells. So like a female egg or a male sperm, we're only going to have half of the chromosomes, just their half. And then when the fertilization occurs, and again, sorry I had to hear that word, you get the full set of 46 chromosomes. And then you start through the process of mitosis. Okay, next word. And let's see, you can't see my list, but if I were to count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 total, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So hey, we're almost a third of the way done. So there you go, if you're scoring or keeping track at home. Next up, gene. And I should, do I need examples for these things? Well, we did say who they were and what it is. Now that definition is good enough. Section of a gene. Gene is not a section of a gene. Oh, sections. Oh, I had the wrong word. Section, it should be on anyway. I got the wrong word written down here in my notes. Section of a chromosome. And I don't need plural. Now we will draw this one. So let's get our pen back up here. And I'll draw my rectangle here, and this is going to represent, that's a chromosome. Okay, so let's see, I'm just going to do CHR, chromosome. And if you want the whole word, I can draw that arrow right over there. That's a chromosome. So let's get a different color. Let's use this green right here. So on this chromosome, there's going to be these little bands. Like that's a gene. That's a gene. And that's a gene. I'm going to put the word gene right here. And then we can put something there. We can put an arrow here. And then we can put an arrow there. Okay, now we will close this and come back over here and finish this dot right there. Edit, please, and thank you. Section of the chromosome that codes for a particular trait. So for example, these genes, maybe this is hair. Okay, texture, thickness, brittleness, if that's a thing. I don't even know if that's a thing for hair. Hair color, darkness of the shade, the type of color. So like, for example, if you have brown hair, but you could have really, really dark brown, it could be light brown, it could be thick hair, it could be thin hair, it could have the rough texture, smooth texture, all different kinds of things. And those things could be a part of that. Okay, so that's gene. Now next one, locus. Okay, that is the location of the gene on, happy with the space bar there, on the chromosome. Now we'll put an S on that one. So what we're talking about, think about, going to a Chiefs game or going to a Royals game or any sporting event. You buy that ticket, it's going to tell you what section you're in. It's going to tell you what row you're in. It's going to tell you what seat you're in. Okay, and you got no option to that. That would be your locus. That would be the locus for you at the game. And so a gene would have the same scenario. It's going to be on a certain chromosome. Okay, and if you were just to number it off, one end to the other, it would be in that section as well. So it's got a particular spot to be in, and that is referred to as its locus. Okay, next up, alleles. And this is where we really start to get cool on the variation and the explanation of genetics. I feel like I'm not going to reach up there and turn it. I just need to scoot myself over here to the middle. Like I moved over or something. All right, an allele. Variation of a trait. And then I'll close that, get my pen here. So let's go up here and do alleles. Oh, I did switch to green. Oh well. The color surprised me there. Alleles. Alright, so if we did allele for, let's say, hair color. Hair color. Alright, so alleles for hair color. Now, obviously, we've got brown. Okay, that's what a majority of people have brown. And then, of course, then there's also black. And, of course, there's blonde. And, of course, like at my house, there's also blondes. But it didn't come from mom and dad. But that's enough about that. I ain't gonna say anymore, so I'll get myself in trouble. But her blonde hair might come from a box, but that's between you. You didn't hear that from me. All right, and then we got red. Can't forget that. And a C. Now I know at the high school when I walk around the mall, I see a lot of blue, but blue don't come from it. Blue's not genetic. That's a whole different thing. And purple, and not that those don't look good, but they don't. They're not part of our discussion today. So those would be alleles for hair color. Okay, alleles for hair color. And maybe I need to put a little plural in there since we got more than one. Brown, black, blonde, red, and maybe I'm forgetting one. Some people might be saying, "What about white?" Okay, or even the gray as a person gets older. That's a different snare. That's more of one of the genes that used to code for the color. He's either stopped working or got turned off or something, and now it's an absence of color. It's probably a better way of saying that. So that would be alleles, the variations that you would have. So if you think about height, okay, you could always have, if you just did it in generic terms, you'd have short, tall, something in between there. But that's kind of a blending thing. That's going to be a topic we talk about when we're talking about incomplete dominance, where the two possibilities kind of blend together. So you could have a real tall dad, a real short mom, and the kids they could be similar to either parent as far as height, or they could be somewhere in between. You know, I'll say it again when we get to that word, but plants do that, plant color. You could have pink flowers, you can have white flowers, or I should say red flowers, white flowers, or any variation of pink in between there. All right, so let's close that, and let's go back to this, and a little edit please, and thank you. And that's alleles. Okay, next up for us, okay, now we have dominant alleles. I left out an E right there. Dominant alleles. This is obviously the trait that's going to show if you have this trait. And this is, again, if you had this stuff in high school or in some class somewhere, this is the uppercase letter. So I'm just going to put a big L there, meaning uppercase letter. You know, I better not do it that way because someone just writes down L and doesn't remember. So I'm going to put upper case letter. Okay. And it's the trait that always shows. So for example, with hair color, if and we do uppercase letters, and we do our Punnett squares, we're talking about, you know, I'm almost out of room here. So if we did brown, let's go back to the purple here. So brown would be obviously a big B, and then maybe blonde would be the little b, the recessive allele, recessive allele, which we're about to showcase. So when we do our Punnett squares, it's letters like that. It's what I mean by upper case. So close that, come back to here. So when we do recessive, okay, lowercase. Lowercase letter. No, I'm sure you must have. Come back up here. There we go. From both parents. And what I mean by that is if the dad passes a uppercase letter, then whatever the trait is, it doesn't matter what mom does or not, whatever mom does is not important. The offspring is going to have the dominant allele. Same thing with mom. If she passes an uppercase letter, doesn't matter what dad does, the offspring is going to have the uppercase or the dominant allele. Now, if dad passes a lower case letter and mom passes a lowercase letter, that's when the recessive allele shows. That's how you get blonde hair, true blonde hair. Not like my wife's blonde hair. That's how you get the true blonde hair. Both parents have to pass the little b. And at this point, we will do our first Punnett square just to kind of drive home all these little messages we're talking about. And we're going to go right over here. And so let's do our first Punnett square, and we'll do hair color. Okay, we'll do a couple, and we'll do it with, so we're going to get the dominant allele, and then we'll do some that show, or do one that shows that recessive allele. All right, so say we'll put dad up here. So say we're doing hair color. Dad is a dominant. Well, I'm going to use a word, but I haven't got to it yet, but we will get to it. So dad is homozygous, and when we do get to it, we'll officially announce it. But dad is homozygous dominant, meaning he's got the two dominant traits, or he's got the dominant trait, but they're both the same. So homozygous, they're both the same, and they're the dominant. So homozygous dominant. We're going to put mom over here. Now let's make mom. Let's make mom recessive. So mom is true blonde, which may or may not be the reason why dad liked her in the first place, but that's a debate for another time. So dad is going to, his stuff passes down this way, and mom's passes across that way. So if I put dad's uppercase letter here on both columns, and then mom's in here. And again, hopefully you are a recent high school graduate and this information is all reviewed. You did this in your bio EOC class. So what we've got here is we've got 4 offspring, 4 potential offspring, and they're each going to have brown hair because they each have the uppercase B. Now they are all heterozygous. It's homozygous, and again, we haven't got these words yet, but we'll get to them. But I'm going to use them ahead of time, so I should have moved them up further in the list. These are homozygous dominant. This is homozygous recessive, and all of the offspring are going to be heterozygous, meaning the letters are different. Hetero, different. Homozygous, same. But again, we'll type those up here in just a second. All right, so if we did, and again, okay, they're coming up. It's the next two, so I'm going to wait, and we'll come back over here and do the next 2 words once we officially write them. But now, okay, if I close this and move it up, okay, now we're going to draw one, draw another one when we get the little blonde, blue-eyed girl down here. So now we're going to change dad a little bit. He is now going to be this, and we could leave mom the same and get the same results, but I want to save that for the third one. Okay, so now we're going to change mom to where she now has brown hair. Okay, just like dad, got brown hair, heterozygous, different, heterozygous, different, but they got the dominant traits, they have brown hair. So again, if I take dad down this way, and dad here, and dad here, and dad here, and then mom across. Now this is what you can imagine the scene here is this is the family who, you know, always have brown hair, brown hair, brown hair. Everywhere you look, you have a family reunion, it's brown hair all over the building, except for the little girl, the little 2-year-old girl in the stroller over there. And everybody's like, whoa, what's going on there? What's going on there? You know? And that's because each parent was heterozygous, and they each had that recessive trait, that recessive allele just hidden in there somewhere. And eventually, like this offspring, brown hair, this offspring, brown hair, this offspring, brown hair. But over here in the lower right-hand corner, that's the potential for a little, and I keep saying girl because that makes the story cuter, a little cute, blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl right there, because each parent passed, okay, the recessive trait. So when you get something, and you get a trait that's expressed that is rare in a family, that's what's going on. Each parent passed that recessive trait down, meaning they were heterozygous. If they had the dominant trait expressed, and the offspring has the recessive trait expressed, that means each parent were heterozygous, and they just luck of the draw happened to pass it along. Now, one thing we got to remember is that these are random acts. When fertilization occurs, and again, I keep saying that word, I'm sorry about that. When fertilization occurs, I mean, we understand the situation where there is just the one female egg, but there are a million potential sperm cells that are trying to get the job done. And so the randomness of which one gets there, and all the variations, could be that it's just super rare because there's just so much, millions to one opportunity to get each individual allele. And so if you've got 99% dominant trait alleles in those situations and 1% recessive, that just makes it even more rare. But when it happens, and that's the way it goes. Now let's go a third route. Again, we'll close this up. And then when we come back and we do these next two words that we're going to do once we get back over there, we'll come back down to these Punnett squares and illustrate these words. It's genotype and phenotype. I keep making reference to them, but I don't say them. But genotype and phenotype. So now we're going to keep dad heterozygous. Okay, but we're going to make mom go back to blonde hair. Okay, now when we pass dad's traits down, look what we get over here. Okay, just that one simple little change, taking mom from being heterozygous to homozygous recessive. Now we've got a potential. Oh, I didn't put hers right here. Now we've got a potential of 50-50. Okay, now it's the idea of mom's blonde hair, so we know she's homozygous recessive. Dad's brown hair, but you may or may not know what his genotype is. But once they start having blonde-haired babies, then you know that he's got the little B right there, so he's heterozygous because he's showing the dominant trait, but he's able to pass on, or he produces offspring with the recessive trait. Then you know he's got to be heterozygous. Because if he wasn't, he was homozygous dominant, like there was in our first one, everybody'd have brown hair. But then we could have blonde-haired grandbabies, though. How cool would that be? All right, so we'll close out the pin tray here, and we'll bring ourselves back up to our I better scoot this up here because we're going to run out of room, and plus it won't let me cover myself up, which is great because you'd be upset by that, but I don't want to cover up any words either. So let's go back to editing here. And of course, I already spoiler alert these next two words, but genotype and phenotype. Genotype first. That is the it's my right word. I know what I got typed down here, but that's more how I would understand it. which allele type is located on the chromosome, genotype. In other words, what letters, as far, and I use letters because obviously genes don't know, we call them letters, or refer to them as letters, but alleles. But which allele is located on dad's chromosome and mom's chromosome, that's what the genotype would refer to. And then the opposite of that, phenotype, that's the physical trait that you can see. So everyone who is truly a blonde, as I'm sure Penny is, you know they've got to be homozygous recessive, or they wouldn't have that trait at all. Physical trait that can be seen. If you wanted to science it up, you could say physical trait that is observed. That would be the way to science that up a little bit there. So now, when I go back over here, and this will be one of the fun things we do with Punnett squares. If I pull my pen back up here, so my genotype, and I'm just going to put G, and I'm going to put R, genotype ratio. Okay, so then you've got a list, and so all the possibilities, that's there. Okay, so that would be 100% heterozygous for genotype ratio. For big B, little b, it's 100%. Now the phenotype ratio, what can I actually see? Well, brown, 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 brown. So it's going to be brown 100%. And if you're like, excuse me, if you're like, whoa, slow down. That's all right. We're going to do it 2 more times down here. Now, when we look at, let me close this down, move this up, put the pen back up. Look at me. That's multiple skills right there. Okay, so now my GR, genotype ratio. And again, when you're doing the genotype ratios, you got to list all the potential letter combinations out. So we got big B, big B, we got big B, little b, and then we got little b, little b. So we have 3 options. Okay, we got big B, we got big B, little b here, and we got little b. So this is 1, this is 2, and this is 1, because there's 1 right there, but there are 2 of those, and then there's 1 right there. So we're talking 1 to 2 to 1 ratio, 1 to 2 to 1 ratio. And if you wanted to do percent, you could. It could be 25 to 50 to 25. Now my phenotype ratio is, I'm going to have brown. So this offspring has brown hair, this offspring has brown hair, this offspring has brown hair. So that's 3. And I got a little blonde-haired baby girl down here, yeah, and that's 1. So 3 to 1, or you could say 75% under those conditions, 75% chance to be brown hair. Okay, and now we'll close this out, and we'll move up a little bit here, and then I'll write down below here. I'll just do that. That'll be easier. So now that for this scenario, my GR, and yes, hopefully by now you've kind of figured out this scheme here. We've got big B, little b, and then we got little b, and we're 1, 2. So this is 2, and this one is 2 right here, 2, 2. So if we reduce that down, we get to that 1 to 1 ratio. So you've got a 50% chance, as I mentioned earlier, to get heterozygous or homozygous recessive. Now my PR Okay, gonna look very similar. I got brown, 2, where's my R at? And I got blonde, 2. So again, 50% chance to get brown hair. And wasn't that R? There we go. And 50% chance blonde hair. So that's genotype, phenotype ratio. Let's get ourselves back up here. Edit some more. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 1, 2, 3, 5 more things to do. And of course, these things are Punnett squares over here. I didn't officially write that down, but hopefully you understood what those are called. Now, next up, and this is the letters or words that we've been talking about a bunch. So you should already have this down. Homozygous. Letters are same size. Can be dominant. Or recessive. Can be dominant or recessive, and that recessive does not look right. You're just looking under E right there. That's supposed to be an E instead. Let's see what we got. Yeah, that looks better right there. So it can be homozygous dominant. It can be homozygous recessive, and we showcase that a lot over there in the Punnett square. And when we're in class, we'll talk a bunch about it, and you'll have plenty of chances to get that down. And so then our next word, or the N, would be heterozygous. And these are letters are different. And I'm going to put the word size, different size. So uppercase and lowercase. And again, we mentioned that plenty of times over there, and will so in class as well. Hey, we're down to 3. 2 more, and then we talk about penny there, and then we wrap it up. All right, codominant. Now, codominant is a pretty cool deal, and a lot of you nurse students, I should say, will deal a lot with this topic because it's about blood. And again, as soon as I said codominant, you probably said, "Yeah, blood, got that." But blood's an example, because you've got your A, you got your B, you got your AB when they're put together, and of course you've got your O. So type A blood is not dominant over type B blood. It's not dominant, it's not better, it's not more preferred, it's just what you have. And so, but then when you have a situation where they come together in that fertilization, and again, apologize for saying that word, then you get your AB blood type. So neither are dominant. They kind of have to work together when they have to, but because they are codominant. If you have type A and you have type B, you can't get the other one. I mean, we're well aware of the bad situation. I mean, that's something that has to be completely planned out and made sure of. You can't give someone who's got type A, you can't give them type B. They're about to have a bad day, and vice versa. So that's codominant. Okay, one more, then it's penny time. Incomplete. And I referenced this earlier with the flowers. Incomplete dominance, and I'm going to put flowers, but there are many other examples, and I'm going to put the word height as well, and I mentioned those two earlier. But this is a situation where none of the traits are dominant. Okay. No dominant trait. And so if we've got maybe the male flowers of a particular species of flowers are red and the female flowers are white, or vice versa, doesn't matter. But when they produce offspring, okay, if you get the red trait, fine, you're going to be red. If you get the white trait, but if a heterozygous situation shows up, then we get pink flowers. Okay, then we get the pink flowers, and that's what incomplete dominant. Same with height. If I have two tall parents, okay, they're most likely going to pass a tall gene, and then boom, the offspring could be very tall. But hey, they could both also pass, the trait where you can have a short. You can have two short parents that produce a tall offspring. So there's all kinds of gradient there and stuff there. And our last note, and this is where Penny comes into play, multiple genes at work. And again, hopefully this is all a review for you. Multiple genes at work. And what I mean by that, and I kind of already alluded to this, but we'll bring the ink tray back up. When I did this example right over here on genes on a chromosome, we talked about this. But if you take Penny's hair, there could be a gene, and I'm just going to do the letter, like gene 1 could be thickness. Or I guess it should say the alleles could be thick or it could be thin. That would be alleles for that particular gene. Another gene, gene 2, whatever it may be, wherever it may be, maybe texture. Okay, it could be rough, it could be smooth, it could be whatever happens to hair that makes it naturally curly, whatever the case may be. Thick or thin, texture. We could have another one that would be color. And we could even have a fourth one, and actually the number is unlimited how many you could actually have. The shade of that color. In other words, is it a dark brown? Is it a light blonde? Is it a dark blonde? Okay, is it a light brown? Whatever it may be. So you got four things here. I just mean multiple genes at work to produce the final product of whatever it is you're working with. So that's it. That was the last one right there. Hey, that was a blast. I hope you enjoyed that, and man, I can't wait to get into class when we're Punnett squares, and if we got any diehards, we got people that really want to break this down. We could do a dihybrid cross, which is going from one trait to two traits. And man, all heck breaks loose when you do that. Hopefully you did a dihybrid cross in high school or wherever, and that you had some good time. You had good fun with that. Oh, well, you know what? I didn't use my little chart up here, so we better back up the bus here a little bit. I'm trying to get here too quick. Let's blow this up. And we talked a lot about this, and actually I should have done this to use the traits. But here's your homozygous, heterozygous words here. We're going to call this mom. This is their eggs up here. This is mom up here. This is dad over here. If you don't know what those are, I'm not going to spoil alert it for you. Maybe you're not there yet. I don't know. But these are the female eggs. And so mom is heterozygous. Okay. She's got a big C and a little c. So what this is mom, this is dad, and these are the four potential offspring. How about that smile right there, though? Isn't that a nice smile? I don't have that kind of smile. But mom is heterozygous. Dad is heterozygous. So we've already seen this. Heterozygous. You're going to get that 1 to 2 to 1 ratio. So this trait, I should say, is the dominant trait is for it to show. Okay, the recessive is no show. So cleft chin, cleft chin, cleft chin, no cleft chin. I wonder what I got. I've had a goatee for so long, I don't even know. I don't think I have that there. But that's the idea of heterozygous, homozygous, but I did say 1 to 2 to 1 because you've got the genotype. I mean, I'm moving the whole thing there. I don't want to do that. There's your homozygous dominant, heterozygous, homozygous recessive, 1 to 2 to 1 ratio. So there you go. And of course, if you don't know, that's Penny right there. All right, that is the show for today. Hey, thank you very much. Man, I hope you had a blast doing that. Hope you enjoyed that. And again, I look forward to getting in class and doing this stuff with the different groups. It's a lot of fun, and we can just have as much fun with it as we want to. We can take all the traits. We can plan it out. We could even do a person's entire pedigree table if they want to. I mean, it don't matter to me. I enjoy doing it. I can take 2, 3, 4, 5 days. I don't care. I mean, that's a high school setting, obviously. But anyway, enjoy yourself. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy whenever it is you're watching this. Hopefully you're curled up on the couch. Got a nice little glass of tea or lemonade or something there with you. And maybe a little sandwich. Anyway, enjoy yourself. Thank you. And until next time, we will say goodbye.